1 to 3. The rain had been falling since dawn, the kind of cold, relentless rain that soaked through clothes and hope alike, turning the city streets into mirrors of broken lives. In front of the glowing glass walls of a luxury food mart owned by one of the most powerful CEOs in the country, a thin boy stood barefoot, clutching a torn plastic bag against his chest, as if it were the last thing anchoring him to the world. His clothes were too big, clearly hand-me-downs, and his face was smudged with dirt. But his eyes, those eyes carried a depth no child should ever have to know. Inside the store, shelves overflowed with food, warm lights and abundance, while outside, hunger gnawed at the boy's stomach like an animal. As he stepped closer to the exit, a security guard noticed the bag shaking in his small hands. "Hey, stop right there!" The guard shouted, his voice sharp and practiced. The boy froze. Slowly, fearfully, he turned around, tears already forming before the accusation even came. The guard snatched the bag and peered inside. 2 bread rolls, a small packet of rice, and a can of soup. "You stole this," the guard said flatly. The boy's lips trembled. Please, don't take our food," he whispered, his voice barely louder than the rain. "My mom is sick." That sentence, fragile and desperate, hung in the air, but the guard's face remained unmoved. "Rules are rules," he said, grabbing the boy's arm. "You're coming with me." Inside the store, watching from a distance, was Ethan Cole, the single-dad CEO himself. Tall, sharply dressed, respected and feared in boardrooms, Ethan was known for building empires, not noticing broken children outside his stores. He had just finished a stressful meeting about profits and expansion when the scene caught his eye. Something about the boy's posture, how he didn't fight, how he simply lowered his head in defeat, made Ethan pause. Memories he had buried long ago stirred uncomfortably. "What's going on?" Ethan asked as he approached, his deep voice cutting through the noise. The guard straightened instantly. "Sir, the kids stole food." Ethan looked at the boy, really looked at him. Mud on his feet, bruises on his arms, fear mixed with responsibility far beyond his years. "Is that true?" Ethan asked calmly. The boy nodded, tears finally spilling. "I'm sorry," he said quickly. "I didn't want to steal. My mom hasn't eaten in 2 days. She's very sick. I just needed something for her." Ethan felt a tightness in his chest he hadn't felt since his wife's funeral. His own daughter Lily flashed in his mind, safe, warm, loved. "Where is your mother?" Ethan asked. The boy hesitated, then pointed down the road. "In a broken house, near the old railway," the guard scoffed. "Sir, we can call the police." Ethan raised a hand, silencing him. "Let go of the boy," he said quietly. The guard released the child, confused but obedient. Ethan picked up the bag, added more food, fruits, milk, medicine, and handed it back. The boy's eyes, 2-3, widened in disbelief. "Thank you, sir," he whispered. Ethan crouched down to the boy's level. "What's your name?" "Ayan," he replied. "How old are you, Ayan?" 9. Ethan swallowed hard. "Take me to your mother," he said. The boy stared at him, unsure if this was another trick life was playing. "I'll walk with you," Ethan added gently. And so, the CEO of a billion-dollar company walked through muddy streets beside a starving child, past places money had never cared to fix. When they reached the house, Ethan felt his heart sink. The structure was barely standing, walls cracked, roof leaking. Inside, on a thin mattress, lay a woman pale as death, coughing weakly. Ayan rushed to her side. "Mama, I brought food," he said softly. The woman tried to sit up, panic in her eyes when she saw Ethan. "Please, don't take my son," she begged weakly. Ethan knelt again, his voice steady but emotional. "I'm not here to hurt you," he said. "I'm here to help." As Ethan watched the boy feed his mother with shaking hands, something inside him broke open, years of emotional walls crumbling in silence. He remembered the night his wife died, how helpless he felt, how no amount of money could save her. And now, here was a child carrying the same burden alone. "Ayan," Ethan said quietly, "from today on, you're not alone." The boy looked up, hope and fear battling in his eyes. Outside the rain finally slowed, but inside that broken house, a storm of change had begun. And before this chapter ends, remember, stories like this remind us why kindness matters. If you believe in stories that touch the heart and change lives, subscribe to the channel because the next chapter will change everything. The night after Ethan left the broken house near the railway tracks, sleep refused to come to him. He lay awake in the wide, silent bedroom of his luxurious home, staring at the ceiling while rain tapped softly against the glass, as if reminding him of the boy's trembling voice. "Please don't take our food. My mom is sick." Those words echoed in his mind with more force than any boardroom, argument or financial loss ever had. Beside him, his daughter Lily slept peacefully, clutching her stuffed bear, unaware that her father's heart was unraveling piece by piece. Ethan turned on his side and watched her breathe, feeling a sharp sting of guilt. How many children out there slept hungry tonight while his own had more than enough? For years, he had told himself that building a powerful company was his way of securing his family's future, of honoring his late wife's memory. But now, standing at the edge of a realization he could no longer ignore, he understood that success without compassion was an empty victory. Before dawn, Ethan made a decision that would alter many lives, starting with Ayan's. The very next morning, Ethan returned to the railway settlement, this time not as a silent observer, but as a man on a mission. He brought doctors, nurses, warm blankets, and medicines. 3-3, when Ayan opened the door and saw him again, his eyes widened in disbelief, as though miracles were something meant only for stories, not real life. "Sir, you came back," the boy whispered. Ethan smiled softly. "I promised you, didn't I?" The doctors examined Ayan's mother and confirmed what Ethan had feared: untreated pneumonia, worsened by malnutrition and cold. But there was hope. As they worked, Ethan stood quietly in the corner, watching the boy cling to his mother's hand, whispering encouragement the way a grown man might. That sight pierced him deeply. Later, as the sun rose higher, the doctor assured Ethan that with proper treatment and care, she would survive.